Peter and Derek, it's been a busy year, a busy summer in particular. You've been gigging all over Europe, yeah?
Yep, just got back from Belgrade yesterday.
Right. And it's Switzerland coming up.
Switzerland next Saturday.
Right.
And London Sunday, and then that'll be the last gig on the current tour.
Right. And you were out in Coronet, Spain in July with GBH, is that right?
Yeah, that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
How did that go?
Depends what you want to listen to, really.
Oh, the wild stories.
Well, we thought we played well. And however, the promoter, well, he's not really the promoter, but someone who helped arrange it all, he has since told us that he had an email from someone, or he had his report to say that we didn't play quite so well.
Right.
But we thought we played all right. We asked, GBH were there, and they said, yeah, you played well. I don't know what he's on about.
Right. How do you put together your set list that you're doing at the moment with, 20 odd years of material to choose from?
That's mainly just all the hits, really.
Right.
I call them hits.
Right.
I mean, we do try and do new stuff. When we do a new record, we try and put new stuff in the set, but people always just want to hear the old songs.
Right. And you spend a lot of time in rehearsal studios, don't you, when you're doing a new record?
Yeah, we don't really rehearse a lot. I think at one point we went for about 10 years without having a rehearsal, which is quite good. Yeah.
Right.
Tried to write stuff in the sound check, but that didn't really work. But yeah, new stuff. We do a lot of kind of mucking about recording at home, and we take it down to the studio, muck about with it with the band,
Right.
play it live for a while,
Right.
see if it goes down like a lead balloon or not,
Right.
and if it doesn't, record it, release it.
But Christoph is also helping with new stuff. He's the guy that
Yeah.
is our musical director.
Right. And he was in the band.
He was in the band for a short period as the drummer, but despite him being a great musician, he's not a great drummer, I'm afraid.
Right.
So he's helping us write some new material for the next album.
And his background is harp in the Scottish National Opera.
Yeah, he lives in Paris. He's French, lives in Paris,
Yeah.
but he plays in the Scottish National Orchestra, amongst others. I think he freelances for other orchestras.
Right. And in the last couple of months, Peter, you've had a couple of iffy experiences with checks that didn't turn up with promoters. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
It's only happened twice, and really in all the 26 years that we've been going, I mean, really, it's only happened more. You could count it on one hand. It's the amount of times it's happened. It's just weird that it's happened twice in the last 4 months. We did a gig in Plymouth,
Yeah.
and whilst we were playing, the promoter was jumping about at the front, and then a little bit later he was nowhere to be seen, and he'd ripped off everyone, us, the support band, the venue, the door staff, every single person. And well, we haven't, despite having a signed contract and trying to get hold of him, we can't get hold of him. And then recently, another gig in Austria, we didn't get paid the full amount, but these things happen, don't they?
He may turn up.
I think it's just because we do a lot of stuff. We do it all ourselves now since the invention of email.
Right.
We've kind of done away with having agents and management and stuff like that. So we just sort it all out by email, and then you just got to trust people at the end of the day, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, once you're there in the venue and all the gear's set up and people have paid to get in,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really not play anyway. And people have travelled miles on the train to come and see you.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is let your fans down. So you just have to go ahead and play and just swallow it, really.
Right.
And that's just the disadvantage of not trusting people.
Right.
I mean, if we had an agent, they probably couldn't do anything about it either, and take them to a small claims court or something. But just have to.
Fortunately, it really happens very, very, very rarely. So it's not really worth worrying about. I'm sure there's loads of bands who are going to go around there and break his legs and all that sort of business, but it's not really our style, to be honest.
Right. And do you sort of plan from year to year? 'Cause, you've been going 26 years. So.
Not really. We don't really sort of say, well, this time next year we want to be doing this and this. But having said that, it is now at this point of sort of second half of the year that if you want to be touring in, say, January or February, you've got to start arranging that now. So on the one hand, yes and no. We don't look ahead and and say this is where we want to be. But at the same point, you know, I'm getting offers already for next year, and sooner or later I'm going to have to, well, sooner really, rather than later, I'm going to have to start saying whether we're going to do it or not.
Right, right. And you took some time off, I gather, a couple of months back for Euro 2004. Did you actually go out there?
No, I didn't go out there. I just ended up watching it on the TV like most other people. Couldn't afford it.
Right.
We wanted to go out there. We would love to have done something like Fat Boy Slim, where, you know, can combine gigs and football at the same time. But unfortunately, there was no Portuguese promoters interested in the same idea.
Would it be an inspiration for songwriting? You know, Sven-Göran Eriksson, you know, something like that. Would you write a song about Sven?
Yeah, be one of the many.
Nah.
No. How do you sort of choose your, you know, inspiration for song titles?
Basically just stuff that happens to us or we see happening to other people, scrapes we get into. Same really as when we were teenagers, right?
Yeah, we've got to get a lot of ideas from what happens on tour and we just have a laugh about it in the van and that's it. That'll be a good idea for a song, you know.
Yeah. We're going way back to 1978 and it all started. Apparently, Peter, the first song you ever wrote was called The Queen Gives a Good Blowjob.
Queen Gives Good Blowjobs, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about the inspiration for that as a first song.
Well, it's obviously not a true experience, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought, just wrote it. Really. I don't know. I can't remember why I decided to write that. Just It was obviously shocking at the time, and to be honest, I wrote this before I was even in a band.
Right.
So I'd written these lyrics and showed them to Derek, and it just went on from there, really.
It was called Greenback then, is that right?
It was just a nickname came up with.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just put a few chords behind it, really.
But what prompted you? Because you were second wave punk, some call it Oi. What prompted you to sort of get involved?
Because we were punks.
Right.
And basically punk. I mean, 77. I was 16. I was a punk then.
Right.
And I mean, at the time, I lived in a town called Peacehaven, which was just a bit further along from Brighton. So we used to spend practically every weekend in Brighton watching all the new bands, and there were bands starting every week.
Right.
And Derek
was 77. This was when punk was
punk was just starting. Really.
Yeah.
And Derek and Trapper were in a band. We'd all gone to school together.
Right.
And within a very short period of time, I was sort of managing, getting them gigs, because at that time it was very easy to get gigs.
Right.
And it just went from
was
there.
Was that the Cornflakes, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. And then when did you start to get together as a band, which first of all was called Restriction, was it?
No, that was the Cornflakes.
Yeah, that was my first band, Restriction.
Right.
It was just a school band.
Right.
The only reason I kind of got let into the band because I was the only one out of everybody who got a job after we left school.
Right.
So my first couple of weeks' wages, I bought an amplifier with about 6 inputs.
Yeah.
And so they let me join the band because I was the only one that had an amplifier and everyone could plug into it.
Right.
Vocals, bass, guitar, everything.
Right.
So I was in that band, but I was kind of, my channel was turned down.
Right.
But then we used to go to Brighton and see these punk bands, and new bands used to start every week, and they were rubbish. You know what I mean? Most of them. Well, they were trying, but they weren't even funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we thought we can have a laugh. We can do this. You know what I mean? He's got some lyrics. I can play a couple of notes. And I just got drunk, really pissed out of our heads, and went on stage, and everybody thought it was really funny.
Right.
We're stopping stones and starting them again, and
yeah.
So it kind of went on from there, really.
And the costumes, did you have ideas about that from the start?
Costumes?
Headgear and stuff like that? No?
No.
Not really, no, just got up and did it.
Just got up and did it. In fact, in our very first week, we got a drummer on the, I think we rehearsed a drummer on the Sunday, did a gig on the Tuesday,
right.
Another gig on the Thursday, got asked to record an album, or record a song on a compilation album, and the following...
Voltage, yeah.
Yeah, Voltage 78.
Yeah.
And the following Sunday, or even Saturday, I think, we were in the studio recording it. So within a week of getting a drummer, which is basically like forming a real band as opposed to just 3 of you,
yeah,
we recorded our first song.
Which is Elvis is Dead, yeah?
Yeah.
What was the sort of inspiration behind that?
That was the days when, in the very early punk days, like 77, 76, 77, there was a big rivalry between punk and Teds on the King's Road and stuff, because the Teds used to hang out on the King's Road, and then the punks came along. There was a lot of fights, so that kind of inspired that.
Yeah, pissing off the Teds really.
Right.
There's no Teds nowadays, but
Yeah.
probably some somewhere. But yeah, that inspired that. And then after we did the last recording, John Peel came down to see the Piranhas, who were also on the album.
Right.
And Peter hassled him in the toilet for a session. He went, all right. So it was then we did a John Peel session, and we got a record contract, and that was all in a matter of all just came from hassling for gigs.
Yeah, weeks. You know,
Right.
probably no more than two months. I would have thought.
Who was the record contract with?
No Future.
Right. And but the first release came out quite a bit after that, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we had been going for quite a while before we actually released our first single, Band from the Pubs.
Yeah.
That wasn't until
82. Something like that.
yeah, it was. Yeah, don't know why it took us so long.
I think it was 80. Well, we recorded it,
It might
and
be
they took ages.
81.
They took ages putting it out.
Right.
Yeah, it was just. I think we did the John Peel session. That took a while to get together.
And that was literally within 2 or 3 weeks of you starting up.
Yeah.
That was ages.
Were
before it was
you at
broadcast,
all
wasn't
sort of nervous about that, or
No, I
because
was in awe. It
Right.
was like, you're going into this top studio, you know. We'd only done one recording before
Right.
with in this tiny little studio where we did Elvis is Dead, which is basically some bloke's bedroom.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're up in London at a top studio on John Peel. It was like, oh my
it?
God,
Made a veil, yeah.
yeah, what's going on here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how everything moves. So, I mean, at that time, everything, not just for us, but the whole movement, the whole punk movement was just moving so quickly at that time.
Right.
You know, there were new bands starting every day. You know, everything, new people starting up their own fanzines, their own record labels.
Yeah.
Time of, you know, a lot of work going into stuff.
And within punk, who were your heroes?
Might be the same as most, I should imagine, Sex Pistols, Clash, people like that.
Right.
Yeah, all the bands that used to come to Brighton play the top rank. They were a bit bigger than the locals bands. You know, Jam, Clash,
Right.
Buzzcocks. All those were our favourites at the time.
Right. Because there's an article that I read, I think it was Record Collector, which was all about Oi, and it described you as in-house jesters to the court of Oi.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what happened after we'd done our kind of first singles,
Right.
stuff like that. Then while we were waiting for our first single to come out, in that little time you mentioned the length of time there,
Yeah.
we got offered by Gary Bushell from Sounds to do this album, and I think the Exploited and the Upstarts were on there,
Right.
and he said it was going to be called Here Comes the New Punk,
Right.
about like kind of new punk bands that have formed kind of, you know, on the back of the first wave of 76, 77 punk bands.
Right.
So we thought that sounds quite a good lineup. So we went on that, and then when it came out, it was like a free sampler with Sounds magazine, and it was called Oi the Album, which we thought was a hilarious title for an album.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we wouldn't have gone on it if we'd have known what it's called. Then it kind of snowballed. Oi kind of got the kind of skinheads interested because there's a few skinhead bands on there,
Right.
and we kind of got lumped in with that. And
Were you happy about that?
well, there's nothing we could do about it really. We didn't really care really, but we did get quite a lot of skinheads turning up to gigs in London. But we just used to take the piss out of them, you know. Any right-wing skins came and started Zeke Heiling and everything. We just, you know,
Right.
just make them feel small, and they used to go away. You know what I mean? If anyone came up the front or to try to cause trouble,
Yeah.
and after a while they stopped coming because it just wasn't their place. You know, they wanted to go to a more kind of violent atmosphere when there wasn't a violent atmosphere at our gigs. You know, like, so
Right.
So
Because they managed to do that with Two Tone, didn't they? They were big trouble.
Exactly. Yeah,
Two
we
Tone saw
were-
them off as well. Really.
Yeah,
Mm.
we were really into the two-tone movement as well. So,
You were?
Yeah, we went to loads of.
Yeah, we were big
This
mates
is-
with Jerry Dammers and
Yeah.
stuff. We went up to
Alright.
Coventry and he
When,
used to
when
come
Jerry
stay
used
at
to,
our house.
he used to come and stay at my flat in Brighton when he came down to Brighton.
Right. Did you not want to be on his label?
Oh, we did hassle him actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember why he didn't put us on
He
it.
said we want to be the first punk band on Two Tone. Just,
Yeah,
right.
good
just,
one.
just to kind of like screw things up a bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Confuse everybody and, you know, make the borders, everybody tries to categorise you, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to try
That's
and-
what I said about Oi. You know,
Yeah.
that description of you as an.
Well, we've done that in our music a lot as well, you know. We've always done something different every album, you know. We've tried
Right.
to, you know, break down the barriers, you know. You don't have to do this, because just because we've been categorised as this, we
Right.
don't have to do an album that sounds exactly like you want it to sound. We've always
Right.
like brought in saxes and keyboards, and then
Yeah.
you know, when people expect us to do that, we've gone straight back to like more hardcore punk, and we just done what we fancy at the time, really.
Right. And Trapper and Oggs, they were in at the beginning and stayed with you through the mid-90s, didn't they?
Oggs came along a little bit later.
Right.
Basically, me, Del and Trapper started the band because we went to school together,
Right.
and we went through 2 or 3 drummers. It was a bit of a Spinal Tap situation, really. They all died. No, they didn't die. Well, not really died, but died a death maybe on stage.
On stage, yeah.
But then eventually we got Oggs in,
Right.
and never looked back really.
And you called the label after him at one point, didn't you?
No,
Trapper.
no, named it after Trapper.
Right.
Yeah, Oggs kind of, we had a drummer called Danny from Hastings, and we went round his house before a big UK tour to find out what was happened to him, because he didn't turn up at rehearsal.
Right.
And his landlady said he moved out and gone to America without telling us. So we didn't know what to do really. We didn't know whether to cancel the tour or not. And that night I think we went out, and I just met Oggs, who I knew was in a band down at this club called the In Place underneath the Alhambra in Brighton seafront.
Right.
And I said, I think the band he was in, they were called Midnight and Boys. The guitarist had just done his back in and was laid up. So he wasn't doing anything at the time. So he said, "Oh, do you want to come on this tour? You know, you can have all the beer you can drink." And he went, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it." And he kind of like stayed in the band for about another 10 years after that. But he never ever admitted he was in the band. He was always said he was there for the free beer. So, I still see him nowadays, and he still says, "Where's all my free beer then?" Still expects it now. But yeah, that's how we got to know him really.
Right. But you say about not liking categories and being put into categories, you know, that thing about Oi, etc. Wasn't there there were bands who were sort of going a lot more out for humour and that kind of feel, and so Jimmy Percy, was he a hero of yours?
Yeah,
Sham
I
69
would
was
say
that?
he was, yeah, when they started.
Yeah, I think the first Sham album was great.
Yeah. The first singles, yeah, it was great.
I think the thing you're talking about is the pathetic kind of punk label. That was another one of Bushel's journalistic categories he was trying to invent at the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bushel invented so many labels. He just had to categorise every single band. You know,
Yeah.
there'd be punk, but then with Gary Bushel, there'd be so many different sections of punk. Hey, we're just a bloody punk band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all we've ever been. You
He
know,
played in a
but
band,
then,
didn't he?
but then there's so many different areas of music within punk. So
Right.
you know, it just categorises. It spreads across.
I mean, nowadays it's even worse, isn't it? You've got like, you know, black metal, dark metal, speed metal, thrash metal, death metal. You know, there's so many different categories. Every time back,
new country, positive country. That's
God.
I can't tell difference.
positive country. You can't sing about divorce. You know. You could,
Oh really? Is that what that means?
Nowadays it just depends what music channel you go on, really.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's just. I suppose it's easier to find in the record shop.
It reminds me when we did an album, the last album. We recorded an album out in Germany, and the guys there in the recording studio were saying, "I listen to this. This is punk jazz." Oh, is it? Oh, right, okay. And the next night they said, "Listen to this. This is jazz punk." Well, what's the bloody difference? Can't you tell?
Really? Oh dear.
So yeah, categories. Yeah, I mean when we go and do the next record, we're not going to we'll just do some stuff that excites us. You know what I mean? We're not going to try and fit into a category because it's up and coming or it's a bandwagon to jump on. We'll just write some songs and rock them out as much as we can. If people want to class that as rock, metal or punk, we don't care really.
Now with Christoph in this role as musical director, does he sort of help you with the songwriting? Is that what it is?
That's the theory, yeah.
Yeah, but he lives in Paris, and he's quite busy. So,
Right.
I mean, to be honest, we haven't really got around to writing any songs this year because we've been quite busy touring, and I'm in the middle of kind of building a studio in my house at the moment because I've just moved house in Brighton. So, and I haven't been working as hard on it as I should.
Right.
I've got all the equipment in the attic. So yeah, as soon as that's all up and running, which I'm hoping by the end of the year, we'll start working on a new record early next year.
Right. And the Mating Sounds of South American Frogs, how did that come together as a concept?
It wasn't really a concept, it was just a bunch of songs really put
Right.
together.
Yeah,
and then we had to come up with an album title like everybody does.
But that's a pretty left field one, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the story goes, we were sitting in the studio with Tanya Rowe in North London, and the manager was hassling us to come up with the title so he could get on with the artwork, 'cause apparently the artwork always takes longer than the record to press. So we were just looking through some sound effects albums and we just saw saw mating sounds of
North
North American frogs, so we called it Mating Sounds of South American Frogs. And
Right.
that was it, as
Right.
far as it goes really. And the cover's actually two toads. We just went over to the Islington Library and ripped it out of a book and said, there's the artwork and there's the title. And he
Right.
went off. So that's how that came about. I didn't really put too much thought into that one either.
Right.
But it seems to have caught on.
But South America, Brazil has cropped up very much. You took a holiday out there subsequently.
I went out there on holiday a couple of years ago
Yeah.
and ended up doing a gig out there with a Brazilian band who knew loads of our songs,
Right.
which was bizarre.
Lambrusco Kids.
Lambrisco Kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Since then they've done a version of Band from the Pubs, which they sent me their version. I recorded vocals over here as well.
Right. Right. And it was the one gig out there, and then you established contacts there.
Yeah, I mean the guy from the Lambrisco Kids, Marcio, we already know other people out there anyway who put gigs on anyway,
Right.
and we've been hassling for a while to get work out there. So Marcio has arranged with someone else, and they've got there's a compilation album coming out basically any day now, which will be our first official release out there. I think you can get our stuff from Captain Oil from other companies.
Right.
So that'll be coming out any time now.
Right.
And then hopefully we'll be touring over there early next year.
To push a new album
Yeah.
that you'll be doing in the autumn, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to be discovering new territories all the time. We just done Israel,
Right.
which is quite good. And the band that was on before us, a quite big band in Israel, they came on and did a song with us, sung a couple of verses in Hebrew, which is quite good.
Right.
And yeah, they were all big fans. Took us out to dinner, asking us all questions. And we seem to get that. We seem to be kind of.
So they knew your material and
Yeah, they had all our records.
yeah.
Same thing happened in Japan 2 or 3 years ago, and we just come back from Belgrade. We've got these little outposts around the world where we've got
Right.
people that are in bands now. I
Right.
mean, they're all young. They were 23, 24, that band. But
Yeah.
they're discovering our music now, and they're really want us to come out and meet us. We
Right.
just kind of
Only this morning I checked my emails. There's an email from a band in Poland wanting me to send them the words to Band from the Pubs because they already do it. They just want to make sure they're singing the right words.
Right. Is this the website, do you reckon? Is this the internet era that's done it, or word of mouth, or punk festivals?
All
or?
of that.
Yeah.
All of that really. We've had the website for nearly 10 years now,
Right.
and
I definitely think the age of the invention of the internet and cyberspace. I mean, you used to have to go to London to be seen, or to go to meetings, and you don't have to go to meetings anymore. You can be you can be in the North Pole as long as you've got your website set up and you've got an email.
Right.
You can arrange anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that has helped really to kind of get us in contact with people across the world.
Right. Right.
Which I think is a good thing, really. We quite enjoy going and visiting these countries for free,
Yeah.
and they enjoy having us. So,
Yeah. And it must be a buzz when you're in Israel and they know the words to your songs. That must be.
yeah.
Well, it's surprising,
it's
yeah.
bizarre.
I mean, everybody there was loads of fans in Israel. We never thought our music could ever be out there. My friend went to Egypt recently to see the pyramids. And there was a record shop in Cairo, just quite near where you get off the bus to see the pyramids. And he walked into the shop and they were playing one of our songs and at the pyramids. So,
Wow.
Yeah. We just went to Belgrade. We were supposed to play this beer festival for 10,000 people, and there was a massive great storm, and the beer festival got washed away down the river. So we ended up moving it to this small club that held like 700 or 800 people, and there's about 1,000 people that couldn't get in. There was a bit of a riot outside, and and everybody there, the whole place was just going mad, and everybody knew all the lyrics to all the songs, and that's in Belgrade, So.
Mm-hmm. How has Brighton changed from when you started as a place, as a music place?
I think musically it hasn't really changed, because even then when it started off there were bands starting all the time, and that still happens now. I don't know how many bands are starting in London every day, but it seems like there's 10 bands each week starting in Brighton.
Right.
And in that respect nothing has changed.
Yeah.
There's always been a big place to start music.
Right.
And
the Concord is a venue that.
Concord's one of the best venues, yeah.
The only thing that's happened to Brighton, I think, is it used to be like quite a... in the centre of Brighton, there's a lot of Irish pubs and a lot of venues, and they've kind of that's all been pushed out to the outskirts now. It's like the Concorde's right down by the marina almost.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, there's not many pubs to go to in the centre of town now. They've all become pre-club pubs or So Brighton's become a bit more American Express, rather than UB40.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not so. I mean, I hardly ever go into town now. It's just full of tourists and clubbers really. That's my only complaint about Brighton. But I think that's happened to most towns around the UK. Cafe Rouge is in every town, and so I kind of moved out to the suburbs a bit really. But I suppose that was bound to happen, wasn't it?
Right. And just in terms of the next album and where you're going on that, have you got the songs all written?
We've got some ideas.
Yeah, Peter's given me. I've got about 2 big files full of lyrics Peter's given me. I've got.
So that's how you work, is it? You go.
Yeah, basically, I might write some lyrics or even just some ideas. Not maybe even a whole song. Give them to Derek.
Right.
Derek might as well write some lyrics and give them to me to finish off.
Yeah.
But musically, it's all really down to Derek.
Right. Yeah, I think we've got 20 or 30 really good ideas that just need kind of knocking into shape really, and just take the 10, 12 best and make it into an album. I mean,
so you're the tune man, yeah? You're the tunesmith.
Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of. I've got my own studio. I haven't actually set it up yet in my new house, but yeah, we'll get it together like that. I'll get Peter to come over and do some vocals, then we'll try it at rehearsal. If it's not working, we'll try it in a different style.
Right.
We don't know. Christoph might come up with a load of brilliant tunes as well.
Right.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea of bringing Christoph in is because it's just to someone coming from a different angle. So our last 2 albums have kind of been like, I've written 14, 15, 16 songs. And we've gone in, we just played them as fast and as hard as we can and gone and recorded them. So we just thought we'd better get someone in to give it a bit of a different,
different perspective, really.
Perspective, that's the word.
Yeah. Right. The main band, comparing that with when Trapper and Oggs left in the mid-90s, have the lineups, the different sort of bass player and drummer that you had, has it changed the way that you operate?
No, not really. If anything, no, actually, it probably has changed. In fact, now we're probably doing more work.
Right.
Since, Oggs and Trap, when they left, it's basically they were working so much they basically work as roadies.
Right.
So they were doing so much at that time that it was actually hindering the work that we were doing. So since they have left, we've been able to actually be more productive.
Yeah, probably one of our worst studio records, Cringe. We got given a lot of money to do it, but nobody put the effort in because everyone was busy. We were trying to fit in a day here and a day there, trying to do a bit of recording and writing.
Right.
And then actually when we did come to recording, people were not turning up. It was all a bit half-hearted.
Right. And yet you had some advance there.
Yeah, and I wrote a lot of songs for that album. I wrote about 20 songs. And my idea was to get them down to rehearsal, and people come up with ideas for middle eights and endings, and great beginnings, and everybody just kind of just got the tape and just played what was on the tape because that's all the time and effort they could afford to put into it.
Right.
So that came across on the record, I think, really, which is a bit of a shame. And then the German company didn't take up the option for the third record, so at that time we thought it was time for a change, and they kind of they were picking and choosing which tour they wanted to do. I'll come to Japan, but I won't come and do Cleethorpes or Bognor.
Right.
So in the end we had to just make a clean break.
Yeah.
And they kind of made their own clean break anyway.
And then it was Rum and H.
Rum and AD after that.
Rum and AD were like
right.
They were in my brother's year at school, 5 years below us.
Right.
They've been doing the circuit in Brighton for years. They'd actually got quite good on their instruments, even though they'd been in about 20 bands and none of them had ever been signed.
Right.
So they were ripe for the picking.
Yeah.
And then,
but Rum left because he couldn't stand the pace. This younger than you and
Well, that's another thing.
exhaustion.
It wasn't
touring exhaustion.
it wasn't all it was built up to be.
All right.
It wasn't all jacuzzis full of paid 3 birds. There's a lot of travelling involved as well and hard work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he got a bit fed up with it. Yeah, hung up his bass next to his football boots, and I think AD sort of sacked himself by just being awkward. He'll even admit that himself.
Right.
And then we got the next 2 generation in.
Right.
So we're just getting older, and we just keep picking the next generation once they're ready for it, once they're up to our standard.
And how long have Paul and David been with you?
Paul's been in the band, it's 7 years now, I think,
Right.
something like that. Yeah, it's quite a while.
Yeah.
Dave joined about a year ago.
Right. How are you finding the lifestyle? You know, you're touring so much. You know, in the 90s, that was your peak of touring, wasn't it? With 5 weeks abroad and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do. Thing is, we don't do big touring anymore. We did, I think the last when Adi and Rum were in the band, which was like 98, when they first joined. We did a lot of touring, 6 weeks in Europe.
Yeah.
In a bus. We did 27 dates at Christmas without a day off.
Yeah.
I mean, we can handle it, but you know, Adi couldn't handle it at the time. He was really ill. He was like couldn't come out of the bunk some nights. He had to really struggle to get on stage.
Right.
But we don't do that anymore because we don't think it's worth putting ourselves through it for the money, really. So some people call it sold out, but we just call it, you know, we're old and we don't
Lazy.
Really, yeah, old and lazy, and why put yourself through loads of bollocks, you know, just
Yeah.
to earn, you know, a couple of £100 each at the end of it. It's not worth it. We you know, we only kind of take good offers, and we only fly in, fly out. We don't drive any long distances anymore.
Did you enjoy America? You've done long tours of America, haven't you, in the past?
Yeah,
5 weeks, 6 weeks.
we did the full lap. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 weeks, every single place. Starting off on the east coast, working our way around the top, going into Canada, all the way round.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a good experience. I personally, I can give or take America. I'm not bothered by it really. One thing I really hate is being told what I can and cannot do by anyone. It doesn't matter whether you know who they are.
Right.
And America is just so full of bloody rules and regulations, and it's just
On the touring scene as well. Did
just drinking as well. You know,
Right.
you can't even get a drink in some places.
It's quite hard to be a drinking band in America when a lot of the clubs don't let you drink on stage, off stage. They don't let, you know, they ID you wherever you go.
Has this been the case for many years, or is it this politically correct thing?
Well, it was the last time we were there.
It's always been 21 to drink, and you know, and
Some states, because you're classed as working, because you're playing on stage, you can't drink on stage. And
well, if they let under 21s in the club,
Yeah.
you know, then nobody's allowed to drink.
Right.
So if it's an all ages show, they're not allowed, and no alcohol's allowed in the venue. Some venues in the West Coast, they let you, or the East Coast as well, let you have a little area where drinkers can go.
But yeah, basically, it's just too many rules.
Yeah.
Drinks over there.
And punk in America, in your audience, do you see punks as English punks and European punks? Is it the same style? Is it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the punks out there, you know, because on a lot of those tours, the money was so bad, we had to stay at people's houses, and you go back to their houses, and they are better off than people in Europe, really.
Right.
There's a big divide between rich and poor over there. You know, you've got people with 10 cars living in the suburbs,
Yeah.
but then you've still got these kids who like all living together in a small little flat.
Yeah.
So there's still the punk ethic in America.
Right.
It's just the way you're dealt with. It's the politics and the attitude of promoters as well. You know, you just get bunged a pizza and a couple of, you know, a case of horrible Budweiser or something. And they
Right.
expect you to live on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I gather that the sort of the backstage thing is very trade unionised as well, isn't it? You know, sort of
Yeah.
people doing certain jobs and you can't all muck in together. Is that
Yeah,
right?
there was a funny story in Richmond, Virginia, where we was playing the gig. The drummer was getting hot. He took his shirt off, and they turned the lights on and all the PA off, the music, and they said you're not allowed to take your shirt off on stage because it contravenes the, you know, federal law number 6793, nudity or something. And he had
rock and roll.
he had to put his shirt back on before we could carry on playing. You know, and that's a prime example of the.
He actually stopped the
The concert because he took his shirt off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to go to a Burger King and get some Cokes, pull half the Coke out, put Jack Daniels in,
Right.
and put the top back on and have them on stage so it looks like we're drinking Coke.
It's worse than being at school.
That's why I'm not that bothered about going back to America again.
And how is it when you go east? You know, to
East
Belgrade, Poland, or you're going
great.
east in Europe.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the
These
drinking
people
there
can't,
is.
people exact opposite. They've got less money in some respects,
Yeah.
but they're so much more freer and easier, and you know, more prepared to look after you and give you know, just
Make
whatever
an
you
effort.
want. Nothing's too much effort for some of these people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you just get and the punk scene as well. I think it's because they've lived so long.
Yeah.
under, you know, other
Oppressive,
different,
yeah.
oppressive regimes or whatever.
Yeah.
Now everyone's really into it.
I mean, that's why I think punk really took off in Eastern Europe, is because when it came along in England, it was just a fashion, really, wasn't it? It was just
Right,
like
yeah.
who could be on the front page of Enemy,
Yeah.
and it was a little someone's idea, and it just started off as a fashion, and become a kind of lifestyle later on, where people started squatting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in the kind of Eastern Europe, especially East Germany and you know Berlin,
Way of
before the war,
life.
before the war came down,
Yeah.
that was how people lived. A lot of punks used to go to Berlin to escape from doing national service.
Yeah.
And there were so many burnt out buildings there from the war that they just used to like do these buildings up and live in them. So when
Yeah.
you played a concert in Berlin, it used to be just packed with thousands of punks.
Yeah.
And that was
Who were
actually,
living the real life.
yeah, that was actually, they were living the lifestyle, you know, waking up in the morning, they were
Yeah.
a punk until the time they went to bed, not, you know, going to work and then getting ready to go out in the evening.
Yeah.
It was actually the way they lived their lives, you know. And still in some areas of Germany, you can get, you know, we stayed at some friend's house in Dusseldorf and they'd actually shut the road off, turned a few cars over and barbed wire, and the police just had it as a no-go area, they don't go down there, you know. And that is a real proper punk lifestyle, which never really happened in England.
Yeah.
I mean, you got people that squatted,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of why it's become really popular. That's happening now in countries like, you know, Belgrade and a lot of Eastern Europe, Romania. We did a tour of all the ex-Yugoslavian states, Croatia
Right.
and Slovenia, and yeah, I mean, pop punk's really a way of life there, really.
Right.
You know, not so much in the squatting way now, but the way they set up their own radio stations, their own magazines. They have their own cooperatives that run gigs. You know, one guy does the PA, one guy does the advertising, one guy does the promotion, the tickets, and they all work together as cooperatives. And
Right.
and I mean, that's really good in a way that people can do their own thing, especially in those countries.
And further east, Japan. How's the punk ethic there? You know, the punk attitude.
I would say punk's still more of a fashion.
Yeah,
Japan,
I
yeah.
would say it's more fashion really in
I
Japan.
mean, I don't think the Japanese government would allow people to squat. They just come in with a load of like riot police. But yeah, it's a bit more difficult in heavier states like that. But yeah,
It's different all over. That's why that's why we love touring, because we go somewhere it's different.
Yeah.
You know, people are punks, but they have different outlooks, different way they're treated by their governments, different things they're reacting against.
Yeah. Do you enjoy playing London as much as you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So really.
London's quite funny because despite it's the capital of England, you're going to find that half the audience are not English at all anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like a little mini festival, all these different nationalities whenever you play in London.
Right.
Especially in the summer. I mean, it's just full of tourists, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Looking.
And really, sort of London is still seen by loads of punks across the world as, in some sort of way, the punk capital. So at some point, a punk is going to make his exodus. He's going to come to London just to visit and see all these places, you know. Walk
Right.
down Oxford Street and go, look, there's 100 Club, and the marquee used to be there. And
Yeah. Looking back, last question. Looking back on all the years since '78. Do you both have the same favourite period, or is yours different from? We enjoying things at about the same time. What's your happiest memories from those years? Is it a particular sort of couple of years in that time, or have you enjoyed it throughout?
personally, I would say I was 16 in 1977, yeah, and I was probably like any other normal teenager, pissed off with school, parents, politics, the government, the situation, how everything was, just with a big chip on my shoulder, really angry about everything. And then all of a sudden, punk rock came along and it said, yes, we're all fucking angry about it, let's do something about it. And for me, that was a real big, well, it was a turning point in my life, and I would say that was probably the most exciting period for me.
Right.
Just becoming a punk when I was 16.
And just seeing that was your future, that was your
Yeah,
life.
but obviously at the time you don't really think, well, when I'm 40, I'm still going to be in a band doing this,
Yeah.
But
But you couldn't see yourself doing anything else.
But at the time, it was just the music and the, the way I dressed, and that's how I went. I didn't really. When you're 16, you don't really make plans that far ahead, do you? Really?
So did you ever think of leaving the business?
No, I've got to admit, when I did first become a punk, I never thought that I'd be in a punk band.
Right.
But it's just at that time, as I said before, you know, it was just a very short step because people were. 1 minute they're in the audience, and then the next time you see them, they're actually on stage playing. You know,
Yeah.
that was the beauty of
That
punk.
punk,
You didn't
yeah.
have to go and spend, you know, 80 grand on the best equipment possible and know how to play every single guitar chord there ever was. That wasn't important.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that you
Yeah.
could just have the bollocks to go and stand up on stage if you
Mhm.
only had one song.
Yeah.
People were doing that all the time.
Yeah.
So
you don't really think about it. You just kind of think, oh, well, this is the moment. Let's milk it for all we can.
Yeah.
And if it keeps, you know, if the cow keeps providing milk, you keep drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, for me, that I haven't really had a particularly favourite time. It's just, you know, just one thing's led to another, and it's kept going. Luckily enough.
And it will keep on going because that's your life.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've
That's
started
so.
to think about it lately. I'm you know, in 20 years' time, I'm only 60 years old still, going on stage wearing leather trousers and my feet apart, and
Yeah.
legs.
You never know, do you?
Well, that's what Mick Jagger said. He said, "I
Charlie
could never
Hawkins.
be on stage at 60," and they just keep on going. They got-
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're still milking it for all they can get, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
they haven't done a good record for about 20 years, have they?
Whilst there's still a punk scene, there'll be punk bands, and it's
People
as simple
still
as that,
want
really.
us to play, we'll play, but if they don't want us to play, they don't. But we seem to still get a positive response wherever we go, you know what I mean? Otherwise they wouldn't fly us over there. So,
You keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of goes back to what you mentioned earlier. Was we're not ones for planning really. We just sort of go with the flow, and who knows? 6 months' time, we might both decide to call it a day. I don't know.
Right. What would you think of doing in your dreams?
I don't know. Be a lottery winner and live on a beach somewhere. I think.
Right.
I don't know. Don't know. Don't really. We're not ones
Yeah.
to plan like that. Really.
I think if you start worrying about the future, then you start, you know,
Worry about the
Think-
future. You start to lose. Keep taking your eye off the ball in the present, don't you?
Yeah.
things start caving in on you then. I think it's better to just not worry about it.
Peter, thanks very much for your time.
No
Okay.
problem.
Cheers.